Well,
So
hello.
anyway, yeah, as I was saying, Coach Red Pill could suck a dick. What? Sorry? What?
So much for monetization. Hey, everyone. It's Kristi. Welcome to the
Fucking
happy hour.
arse bollocks. Bollocks, arse, fuck, wank, tits.
That's going to be an interesting episode to bleep out. No, I'm not going to bleep it out. Don't worry. Anyway, guys, we're here doing a happy hour because I guess we have a rule that whenever police are involved in YouTube personalities in the manosphere, we need to talk about it. And
Yeah,
Kevin and
because
I have a story for you tonight.
this goes beyond like, we've done shows about just sort of drama shit where it's like, what's the repercussion? Oh, you get sort of ostracized by a group of people you didn't really like anyway on the internet. Okay, that's sort of vaguely interesting, but this is like, oh, they might lock a man up in a cage for a set amount of time, and forever, tar him with a criminal record. So that might happen.
Your avatar tonight is so on point, so thanks for that. People in the
I did the joke before, but I'll fucking repeat it anyway. I'm very much the ghost of Christmas future. That's what's
by
happening
December, we'll check,
there. Yeah.
see how that case is coming. So Carl is in the news because his comments, I'll just say it this way, on his YouTube channel, where he said that he might, under enough pressure, even rape Jess Phillips, but come on, there's not enough beer in the world, I think was the phrase. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Because he's so classy. That was.
Well, are we going to play the Victoria Derbyshire bit point?
With Jess Phillips?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a whole show lined up for us.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, well, yeah, well, there's an exact. She reads out the transcript thing to her, which, look, I get in terms of the broadcast, but it's still like, oh, you're kind of re-traumatizing people.
Why? And then can you please relive this moment when you heard this horrible thing?
True, but I mean, in the sense, that's sort of the story, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of difficult to do it without saying it, really. Like the audience aren't going to get the full impact, because no one would believe that someone would actually say that. Like, you'd just go like, oh, she said something a bit weird about rape. Well, that could be anything. Whereas when you actually read the quote, it's like, gee, what kind of fucking piece of shit is this guy? Fucking hell. Anyway, sorry, go on.
That's pretty much the reaction. No, that's fine. You're here to ramble. It's a happy hour.
Indeed.
All right. So I'm locking on my screen now. And during the hangout, if you guys remember, we did a hangout with Steve Shies.
So I took all of like 1 minute to Photoshop that fucking nonsense, and it's done now. It's not even going to be on the fucking screen.
What? No, we can put you back on if you want. There you go. People can have a good long look. But I won't be on the screen the whole time.
Tits. There we go.
Pull,
now just lock on you. It's fine.
I just want someone to pull down this video and get that clip of Carl's face and you just going tits. I will retweet that.
Especially because if he does go to jail, I will then visit him in jail and actually get like a live screen. I will live stream me actually saying that to him through the prison. Actually, you probably don't visit them through the prison door, do you? But there we go. Yes. I don't know how prisons work. Maybe Carl can tell us when he gets out.
All right. So getting back to the start of this, we did a hangout with Steve Shies. We went through my bookmarks and they were chronological. So we kind of been following his campaign every day he makes news so far. And this is in some ways
pretty much every day.
Pretty much every day. Except for the day.
He sets his own pubic hair on fire every day for our amusement. And it's never like you think, it's going to get boring this. It never does.
Except for the day that Dankula set his pubic hair on fire with his Discord getting shut down. That was a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was sort of funny. Like Dankula's kept his head down, really. It's almost like, why did he even bother putting his name on the thing? He hasn't done anything.
Not so far, no.
Genius. I mean, I would be surprised has he put out one leaflet yet? Like, has he done anything?
I
know it's UKIP in Scotland, so there's literally no point in bothering, but I mean, you've got to put a show up, lads. Fucking hell.
Right. So during my patron hangout, well, actually before it, I've been checking Twitter for mentions to see who's talking about Carl and when news stories come out, because I'm on campaign mode and we're watching.
Also, you've got a Patreon. You've got a Patreon, have you?
I do, but I don't see how that's
relevant. Just I'm just mentioning that you've got a Patreon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you want to
People could
support
go and
me
support you. That could happen.
for taking this time to put together this amateur sort of archiving journalism for you. But
Exactly. And if you give her enough money, that she could probably like ditch me and
no,
and like
never.
and do like proper actual broadcasting without a weirdo shouting tits over a poorly photoshopped image of a middle-aged, soon-to-be prison
I think we're like
inmate.
one of the longest sort of, feminist lefty talk shows on YouTube. We've been going for
We
over a
are.
year.
We
So
have indeed.
yeah.
We're trailblazers. I mean, I'm not sure it's a trail anyone else is going to
No,
follow,
no.
but we have blazed the shit out of this
There's just
trail.
tumbleweeds behind us, but
Yeah, exactly.
all right.
We are
So
the Donna Parter,
during
basically.
during the course of me looking, to see if there were any news updates, I came across this tweet from Sarah Ludford. And Kevin, do you want to explain who Sarah Ludford is?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't know who she was before this, but she's I could tell from what she'd said here, right? And then I went and looked her up, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, it's not just like some fake person pretending. She's a member of the House of Lords, which is the unelected upper chamber of the British Parliament, and she's the Lib Dems spokesperson on Brexit in said chamber, and a former MEP herself.
Right.
And yeah, she as you can see on the screen, she put forward a question, a Lord's topical question, which is, do I even need to bore the audience with it? Basically, they at the end of each question session, at the start of each day in the Lords, they have topical questions where they have, I think, 15 minutes to have a set number of questions on random shit that the Lords want to ask the government about. And if the question gets selected, the government have to respond there and then and say what they might be prepared to do or whatever. So yeah, but she tabled the question, but it didn't get asked, did it?
Well, that was our breaking news, and you just stepped over on my breaking news story. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to make it look like I've been following it when actually I'd
You're just
been.
gonna steal my work. No.
Yeah, absolutely,
It wasn't my work.
absolutely.
I was contacted in DMs in reply to this being posted to Mark. What's his name? DiStefano or something like that from Huffington Post UK. And he wrote me back like 2 hours ago going, yeah, they didn't take up the vote. And I was like, oh, boo, but okay, I'll report it on our show tonight. So that's what we're doing, you guys.
But that's the thing. That like it would have been really high profile if it had been asked in the chamber. But what you will probably now do, I imagine, because I mean, anyone can write a letter to anyone else, obviously. But when it's a member of the House of Lords writing to a minister in the Lords, obviously that has a certain amount of weight to it, and the government will respond to that. Because obviously they've got a certain public platform and can kick up a fuss if you don't respond. Whereas plebs like me, well, they don't have to respond at all. So yeah, that's probably what will happen, and she'll get a written reply of some sort, and we'll have to wait and see. But like, I mean, my take on it was that the government will probably think to themselves, "This guy's not worth bothering with." Like, potentially, there's more positive press for Carl and his ilk to get out of this than if they just left them alone. Like, they don't want to invoke the Streisand effect, basically.
So that's, yeah, okay. Another part of this story, though, is that I retweeted this, and that sparked conversation between like Kristi and yourself, and I think the Cognitive Society also jumped in on that. And then Sarah replied back to us.
Yeah, I got retweeted by a member of the House of Lords. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that because, as you point out, it's pretty
but
cool.
you notice, Paul Joseph Watson, when a politician retweets you, you don't have to come on camera. You don't have to. Like, I mean, it's an option, and you clearly took that option up, but you don't have to.
All right. So as we're scrolling up, Carl was being, how everyone's saying, oh, if people just leave this alone, he could talk about his policies. He's got these well-developed policies, and he's got these ideas, that he's developed on YouTube.
He was asked what his top 5 policies were, and he couldn't come up with
Not one. Not one. So
just
do you think
his policy of, I don't know, only men in video games or something? Come up with something, you fucking lazy, thick bastard. Fuck's sake.
Do you think that given he gave such a dismal answer on national television, he's rectified that and come up with some actual policies?
So when I say thick, I don't mean it in the modern sense of like he's got booty. I mean stupid. That's what I just to clarify for any Foreigners.
Okay.
Anyway, do I think he's rectified? No, of course he fucking hasn't. No, of course not.
Well, let's watch him not rectify it on the 5th of May or the 4th, whenever this was taken. Oh, I'll have to turn this up a bit.
Before you asked me whether I was happy to speak to you, I did say I was going to ask you a question. Now, the question is this. What are the top 2 or 3 challenges that we all face in England, in the UK, in Europe and the world? What do you think are the top 2 or 3 big challenges?
Well,
Video game feminism.
Depends on what context you're speaking, but I would say political correctness and Islam.
Okay.
There you go. He's really got his finger on the pulse of his constituents.
Yeah.
If that you mean the far right. Yeah.
And Islam. Like that's Islam's one thing. Yeah. That's perfectly reasonable as a response. What a piece of garbage.
Yeah. And just to
he's a classical liberal who literally wants to just beat on one religion. Fuck off.
And just to prove that's the end of his sentence.
Okay, well
like that, he was done. That was it.
Political correctness and Islam. I mean, when I said video game feminism, I was being silly, but he was no less silly than what he actually came up with.
No.
It was a lot more racist, that I will say that, but it wasn't any less silly.
Definitely landed well with the alt-right, that answer.
Yes, which I mean, again, if you're going for the edgy 15-year-olds in, I'll choose another southern state, Mississippi, then yeah, you're probably going to do quite well, but not many of those in Britain. Yeah.
No.
Oh, this was my favourite.
I know you wanted to talk about this one, so of course I bookmarked it.
Yeah. I mean, I had to put this out. And what I love about this, right, it's not just the fact that they're on course, because this is taking the poll of polls, so the average from all of the polls put together to create, like, you know, an accurate depiction of the situation.
So what
it's not an outlier. It's like this is what the polls are saying right now.
I can tell you what a poll of polls is kind of meant to do, which is to sort of average out the error in the other polls. And
indeed.
So it's not like perfect or anything, but it's an aggregation. It's widening the sample.
It's a refining. It's a refining of the data.
If there's outliers and stuff, aggregating them will smooth it out. Yes,
indeed. And so as you can see there, you've got the Brexit Party on course to win 28.2 seats. Now you think you can't win 0.2 of a seat, but that's the point, isn't it? It's depending exactly on where the votes fall in the regions. You might get 28, you might get 29, right? And what I love about this is the specificity of UKIP getting 0.0 seats.
Not even 0.2.
Not even 0.2 to give them like a little smidge of a chance that they might get something. That they're basically saying you ain't getting shit. I want them to be really specific and go like 0.000. You get fuck all.
They could have just put fuck all there instead.
Yeah, it's almost this kind of sarcastic slap in the bollocks as well. It's not just naught, it's 0.0. I love it.
And also they're trending downwards. You know, like
how'd you get? I mean, they're going to end up with minus seats. How is that possible?
So yeah, as you pointed, I think we pointed out in the happy hour with Steve, they had a lot of free publicity, and the local elections didn't go so well, and polling isn't going well.
Yeah, they lost 80% of their seats. Fucking Christ.
Yep.
There's no way. You don't even need to put that into any context because it's 80%. Like, where'd you go from there?
I guess farther down because they're going to die as a party.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure we'll get onto the news of Batten's announced decision later in the show.
Yes, we will cover that. And also, this might be a good time to mention that we've talked a lot about Carl and the reactions in the media and the press, and we'll be talking shortly about the police. But what I think we are missing as a story is the fact that this is kind of a rallying cry around Jess Phillips, who isn't beloved by everybody in the Labour Party. She's sort of a divisive figure. But she's now sort of become this person that people are transcending within party conflicts and even across parties to stand with her on the principle that this kind of discourse is unacceptable. So Carl is actually making Jess Phillips much more positive in the public mind and also with her peers.
Yeah,
He's not making it
absolutely.
look worse.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that there's no love lost between Jess and her party leader, Mr. Corbyn, to the point where literally Jess said that she wasn't going to stab him in the back; she was going to stab him in the front. I mean, some pretty intense words have been exchanged. They despise one another, basically. But even he came out and was like, "This is absolutely unacceptable. I condemn this completely and stand in solidarity with Jess."
Yep.
Now, to get him to say that means you must have really fucked up, Carl. You did
Yeah.
something so disgusting that a person who hates her,
Yep.
even though technically they're members of the same party, but we know that doesn't always mean much.
Right.
Yeah, you're such a vile person that you've overcome what were considered to be essentially irreparable differences.
Yep.
Can we send him over to Palestine?
Maybe.
He might be such a vile person that they're like,
People just
you know what?
rally
Should we
around
not
him.
fight anymore? Yeah, should we not? Let's get him over into the Congo or something.
Well,
Just sort it out. Everyone can get on board. Like, yeah, let's not do the holy war thing. Let's focus on how much of a prick this guy is.
he did
Like that.
blaze a trail on the internet with getting both people on the far right and the left and the far left to agree. We all really fucking hate Carl Benjamin.
Yeah.
And we can sort of like have that conversation in a very limited way, not agree on anything else, but agree on that one thing.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
And he's doing it in British politics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Yeah, and we'll get on to that. That's the thing to bear in mind, right? When we get onto the whole thing with the interview with Jess later, it doesn't matter what you think of Jess Phillips. Like, I have my very significant disagreements with her on politics and stuff, and her personal cop out, talking about fellow politicians in that way. It's very unpleasant. But the point is that she's a human being and a sexual assault survivor, and that's very much the context this has to be viewed through. So I don't care if you hate her particularly. She's a human being being treated really appallingly by this gobshite, this fucking gutter snipe piece of trash.
Yeah. Also, there has to be, I think, if people want there to be lines in politics of what is acceptable and not acceptable, you have to draw them publicly. And one of them is the idea that it's okay for men who are running for office to talk about the rape of female candidates that are running, that are running or are elected. And making that acceptable is just beyond the pale.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, this has been kind of some hard stuff, so let's just take a really cute look at some cute kittens. Oh, isn't that better?
Is she dead?
What? No, she's sleeping. She's dead. Oh,
I had to ruin it. Oh, there you go.
It's just a mama going, I'm trying to sleep. Would you just leave me alone for 5 minutes?
Fuck off, you little fluffy prick.
Oh, Jesus. I forgot. I missed one before, but I was just noting the people who were responding. Again, has to do with Jess Phillips, her position in sort of political circles being elevated. Do you know Adil Ray? He's like a TV presenter.
Yeah, well, Mr. Khan. He does a show where he plays an old Pakistani man in Birmingham. It's a comedy show. So he's like an actor and TV guy. Yeah. Yeah.
And OBE means?
Obligatory or something of the British Empire. Something like that. It's one of those titles they give to people.
Yeah. So another comedian there, basically like crapping on Carl. Andrew Marr.
Also. Yeah, who's a significant figure in British politics, really. He's a TV presenter chap. Yeah, and actually it was his show that sort of sparked some of this off with he was the one that asked the question of Gerard Batten, and Gerard Batten said, oh, it's fucking, it's a satire thing, and everyone was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So
and Andrew Marr doesn't mince words here. He writes regarding what happened, Jess Phillips talking about whether they would or wouldn't rape her because of legitimizing the perpetrator. So it's her tweet he's responding to. And he writes, this is a revolting stain on public life, which makes many of us sick.
Did you hear that, Carl? You are a revolting stain.
By Andrew Marr. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's not taken to that kind of public emotional effusion.
Yep. And another here, we've got Amber Rudd, MP.
Amber Rudd, Conservative Member of Parliament.
Yep. So I'm demonstrating that point I was making about Carl.
So not the evil cultural Marxists, Carl.
Yeah.
An actual Conservative member of Parliament.
Yes. So here we got to the news you were mentioning earlier that Jared Batten is going to be standing down after the EU
And I got
elections.
Amber Rudd.
Yeah.
Amber Rudd's a member of the government as well.
Yeah.
She's a government minister, isn't she? Health secretary or something?
Work and pensions.
Work and pensions. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, previously the Home Secretary. So she was formerly like the kind of third or fourth most powerful person in the government.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, cross-party support.
Yeah. And by the way, she's fucking vile.
Yeah.
Horrific
right.
politics, but the point being, it's a powerful person saying Carl is shite.
Yes.
So that's good.
So yeah, my point was more the range of people who are standing with her standing with Jess against Carl specifically is kind of being missed in all the headlines. But it's a story that we're going to tell you here at the Happy Hour.
Indeed. We get the stories that fall between the cracks.
Yes. Mind the gap. All right. So,
that's what she said.
Yeah. Kevin, do you want to talk a bit about Gerard stepping down? Have you read about this at all?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He announced he's going to step down like 10 days after the EU elections. He's going to stand down as leader of UKIP, which is such a cowardly thing, it seems to me. He's done all he can to destroy the party, it seems, and then he's just going to bail out and go, oh, never mind. Like I said, I've said all along, didn't I? He's acting in a way that suggests he doesn't care whether the party survives beyond these elections, and now we know why, because he ain't going to be around.
Yeah. And that means Carl's protector is gone as well. So obviously he's out once the elections are over. Because who in UKIP is going to stand up for the guy that helped destroy the party?
Well, not just that, but I mean, is there going to be anyone left in the party?
Yeah.
It literally will just be him and Dankula.
Well, he did say in that hangout with you about UKIP that he wanted to take over the party. He was going to run for leader, remember?
But when you can fit the party into a small taxi, is that really worth leading? You might as well just, say, well, I'm the leader of my own party now. It seems like a long way to go around it, really. There we go.
But so yeah, he's out. He's out like a scout on a new route. Baton.
Yes, indeed, and he's got gout.
He might have gout. It would rhyme if he did. I've heard it both ways. So another thing I found very entertaining, because the UKIP, the War Plan Purple account, was screeching about this. Someone wrote, Carolyn Voden, who's also says FPBE or FBPE, yeah. And not often I agree with Amber Rudd, but she's so right about this. And then Bath for Europe writes, one reason we're having a selective hustings, not prepared to invite UKIP's Carl Benjamin to share a platform with the other candidates.
Oh, that's genius. I don't know. Do they have hustings in America? Do we need to explain that to people?
You kind of have to explain it, yeah.
Yeah, basically they have it's like, I suppose, sort of like town hall meetings, but instead of it being like one dude or like the one party doing it, they all go there, and all of the candidates for a particular, or at least one representative of all of the parties involved, go there and answer questions and talk to the audience about stuff and to talk to each other and debate stuff, and that way you get it's part of the public discourse during an election campaign. They're big events, and it's seen as like a kind of prestigious thing to be part of the hustings, right? And so everyone's going to be invited, but Carl, you're so vile that you won't even be allowed into the hustings from the Southwest, which is a very sort of pro-Remain place. Like it should be a place where UKIP would be welcomed, but even the Southwest is like, no, you're fucking shit. We don't want you anywhere near us.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Don't I come with the best tweets?
You do. You do.
I do.
You have absolutely amazing tweets. Cracking pair of tweets on you.
Thanks. So no, to hear you, I did get that. That's what he said. But to hear your genuine outburst of laughter is what I'm always going for in these.
Well, I hadn't heard that he'd been.
I know.
Been removed from the hustings. That's amazing. Are we gonna? Oh well, I presume we'll get onto the bus thing. That's another one. That when I saw that someone tweeted.
Oh yes, the bus thing. Yeah,
and I was just waking up and I was in bed and I literally full on like heartily fucking not just belly chuckled, my chest but was rising and falling with the laughter. It was fucking brilliant. Loved it.
All right. Oh, right. So then this is I told you about. Oh, sorry. UKIP North Dorset. I guess it wasn't Warpan Purple. If it is selective and does not include all candidates, it is not a true hustings, in my opinion. I would therefore class it as a joint political party promotional event that should appear in electoral expenses returns of the parties involved as national costs or notional costs.
Well, no, that's not necessarily true either, because UKIP would be considered, given the polling, a minor party, so they literally wouldn't have to have them involved anyway. But also, it didn't say that all UKIP candidates were banned. It said Carl Benjamin was banned.
Yeah, that's
They don't
true.
have to
And
invite
he's only
every
second on the
candidate.
list.
Exactly. Well, yeah, not just that, but they don't have to have every single candidate for a multi-candidate event like the EU elections, right? But they'd have to have one representative from the party. So, and as far as that tweet went, it didn't say UKIP are banned. It said Carl Benjamin is banned.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Yeah. And they go on to write, thanks for UKIP to UKIP for pointing this out to save you the rest the bother, but we are fully aware of this and how it has to be financed or declared. There is no way we would invite the deeply unpleasant UKIP candidate Carl Benjamin to share a platform with the other candidates.
Yeah, again, that's it, not precluding a UKIP representative, either one of the candidates or a party official or something. It's saying Carl Benjamin is so cancerous, we're not having him on the fucking stage.
He's so toxic, he's going to make people ill.
Exactly. He's a tiny dancer and his politics are cancer.
Have you been listening to Eminem? All right.
Well, my coffee pot was unusually warm today. That's all I'll say.
Hot coffee pot. All right. This was just something you, I think, mentioned at a hangout, or I don't know if it was during the Let Meet Keck, but just a reminder that Philip Davies is going to speak at the U.S. Men's Rights Conference. Also, Carl Benjamin and Mark Meacham are going to. Meacham.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if Carl turns up, because he was supposed to turn up for the one in London 2 years ago and didn't.
True.
So, because he had other things to do, like, I don't know, masturbate or something, or go to a coke dealer. Who knows? Yeah, so we'll wait and see on that. But yeah, Philip Davies spoke at the one in London. This one's in North America, is it Detroit or somewhere? I can't remember.
Do you know when it's happening?
It's happening in July, I think.
Yeah, okay.
It's certainly some time over the summer.
So there's time to notify the Detroit media that the rape tweet guy is coming to their town.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think it might be worth dropping a few lines to some of the local media. Absolutely.
Tag them in. Yeah.
And possibly law enforcement if he's, Well, that's the thing. Carl might be detained elsewhere. Who knows? Yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, just to bear in mind that Philip Davies was partially involved in trying to filibuster the
upskirting,
the upskirting, and tried to filibuster the filibuster timeout so that they didn't get to the debate around the what do they call it? The rape exemption clause thing.
The statute of limitations?
No. It's
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's to do with fuck's sake, benefit claimants based on number of children or something. They will pay you up to a certain number of children, but if you have another child that was conceived via rape, then that's like exempt, right?
Okay.
But it's obviously incredibly demeaning because the woman has to relive the experience in order to tell the authorities that that's the case. So they were trying to get that removed and just have like the cap scrapped completely. And so they were going to debate that, and he tried to filibuster it so that debate couldn't happen.
POS.
Because he's a piece of garbage. So it might be worth informing some people of that as well.
Yes, in the Detroit media. This came from Anonymous GB, this quote. UKIP member Liz Phillips calls Carl Benjamin vile nonce after she viewed his unfunny rape remark.
I love it.
This is what I live for. Your laughter is what I live for, Kevin.
I was not expecting that as a phrase. I should probably explain for anyone outside of Britain, nonce is a slang term for pedophile.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Jeez, and literally that you need to give me some warning. That was
I know, that's just like walking right through
take.
Yeah, that's like sort of like being guided into a shop and realizing only when you've taken off the blindfold you're in the back end of an Ann Summers.
Exactly, and I mean, some intimidating machines on show. Absolutely.
So I have to finish the tweet though, because your laughter cut me off after the first clause.
Well,
So I'll
you have
start
to
again.
You have to start again, and now I'll see if I don't laugh the second time round. Now I know what's happening.
Right.
Go on.
UKIP member Liz Phillips calls Carl Benjamin vile nonce after she viewed his unfunny rape remark, and then she blames him for the embarrassing downfall of UKIP.
Oh, Carl, man, what the fuck are you doing?
I told you I have the best tweets, Kevin.
You do. That's
I know, it's like a
fucking hell.
30-course meal.
Yeah, vile nonce. Oh, I'm fucking crying, man. Jesus.
Yes.
Oh,
So, Coach Red Pill, this is how you do a stream about Carl. You don't just get on and have two people with no stuff talk about it and then wander off into other topics. You come with great news like this. Oh, yes. Inter-party fighting, I guess. I don't think...
yeah, but it's not the first time. I mean, he's been called all kinds of things, disgusting, reprehensible. Still one of my favourites, just because it's so deliciously sort of polite, but also really cutting and scathing, was what was the name? The Welsh member of the Welsh Assembly, when resigning from the party, based on Carl and Dan Killer and Watson and Milo joining, they said this would never have happened under Nigel Farage. There were standards back then.
Yeah.
Yep. Carl. And that was before all this stuff about you being a vile nonce came out. Right? And that's the thing. I mean, actually, it shows how vile UKIP are, because she was going about the rape tweet, whereas obviously nonce is like specifically a pedophile thing. So I thought, when I saw vile nonce, I thought she was referring to him saying, well, it depends on the child, or yeah, you can fuck some boys. The Greeks did it, that sort of thing.
Well, maybe she's also seen that,
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And if you couldn't, as a reaction, it's crudely put, but you can't really deny that it's accurate based on what he said.
Yeah,
Anyway.
He said it depends on the child. Blah blah blah. I've never really given it much thought. A man in his mid-30s at that point. What?
Yeah, and not just that, but you'd done videos on like paedophile rape gangs and stuff before then. So
yeah,
if you hadn't given it any thought, why were you making videos about it? And secondly, yeah, you were well into your 30s. You should have given it some fucking thought. Yeah, then there was the second quote, wasn't there? Well, you can quote me on this. You can fuck some boys. Oh, Jesus! I just garbage. Again, the Dark Mother had it absolutely right.
Yes, human garbage. Right. So, are we ready for this now?
And speaking of human garbage, Katie Hopkins and Gerard Batten.
Right. So the
immovable object of douchebaggery meets the irresistible force of cockwomblery.
Her tweet reads, challenging Gerard on his choice of random bearded vloggers for UKIP MEPs. Gerard deserves better. It was his choice.
Yeah, actually, no, he doesn't deserve better, because he chose.
Yeah.
He deserves... When you choose, you get what you deserve. Also, because you chose it.
And he's been standing by them. So, yeah. So, shall we watch her basically drag him for his choice of MEP candidate?
We should, but I don't want anyone to think just, right, the stop clock is right twice a day type thing.
Yeah,
Katie
exactly.
Hopkins is still arguably worse than Gerard Batten, actually, as a human being.
Probably.
But just on this one particular issue.
We're just going to watch pigs roll around in the mud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Army now that it's about to go into battle on behalf of who? Anne bloody Widdicombe and a bunch of celebrities? No, I don't think so. We've got, we are people who fought this a long time, and what you've got there now is a bunch of celebrity opportunists who think it's great fun now to run in this election. I don't quite know what they're going to do if they get elected, whether they're going to be able to work together. I somehow doubt that, seriously.
Would you level that same charge, though, at Tommy Robinson, Carl, other vloggers, bloggers, and online YouTube stars that you've got?
We've got... What I did is, when I said to the party how we were going to select, because normally we would do this by an internal election, but that would have taken months to organise. While I guessed this was going to come, I couldn't go into that process not knowing it was going to come. So what we did is we said people applied. We had about 190 people apply. we would select them on the basis of their loyalty to the party, their record, what have they done.
So they're loyal to the party, their record, and what they've done.
Which is non-existent in Carl's case on
Yeah.
all 3 counts.
And the 3 women they deselected were all incumbents.
Yeah. So they got rid of incumbents who had been members of the party for a while and replaced them with Carl, who was a liberalist like 5 seconds before joining UKIP, wasn't he, or something?
But you know, Kevin, Carl believes in equality of opportunity. Except, of course, when the table is tilted in his favor and they pass over qualified women to get a no-name guy who's now the rape tweet UKIP candidate.
Yeah, who's sunk them. Yeah, they've essentially, they're the Titanic asking the iceberg to come nearer.
Yeah.
Basically.
There's a reason why the selection process takes a while, because you vet your candidates.
Yeah.
For these things. So you're not constantly surprised about what's coming out about what they said.
And not just that, but we know that they received that dossier that was passed to Wiltshire Police. They received that last autumn.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew all about this before they selected him. Like the kind of the actual doing the hard yards had been done for them, and they still went with him. So fuck them.
Yeah.
Your comeuppance has been gotten.
Yes, quite. Okay. Come on. Stupid Twitter. Got it.
But also I made provision that for people who can get us a bit more coverage in the social media. So that's
how's that working out for you? You've got a lot of coverage, Not a lot of votes.
I was like, Andrew Marr's talking about you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a lot of votes, not a lot of support, but certainly coverage.
Lots and lots and
I wonder
lots.
if those two things are connected in some way. I don't know.
Carl Benjamin.
Yeah.
Is on there. It's why Mark Meehan Candankula is on there, because they have.
Can't even pronounce his name properly.
I know.
Yeah, but he's got yes. But
I was just going to say, you've got to call you out. If you go, bloody Anne Whitaker, rah, rah, what's she ever done for politics apart from 50 years of the Tory party? And you have got a guy who taught his dog to do a Nazi.
Well, he did a bit more than that.
That's, I mean, you can't argue the point, can you, really?
Nope. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Actually,
she's vile. She's fucking vile, but she's also on this one point correct.
Correct. Yeah. All right.
Comedian, if you have heard him, he does he's
MEP candidate.
Well,
look. Did everyone get that?
Well, she said he's pretty shit for an MEP candidate.
Should we go back and just listen to it one more time? Just because
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
There you are.
Who taught his dog to do a Nazi.
Well, he did a bit more than that. He's actually quite a very good comedian. If you have heard him, he does a. He's
MEP candidate.
Well, look, he's not top of the list.
What's really bizarre about that is she prefaces that by saying he's got a beard.
Yeah.
Like, is that a criticism?
I don't
He's got
understand.
a beard. Ugh.
Is that a plus or a minus? I don't know. She mentions in the tweet too, random bearded vloggers.
Well, I know. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. I realised that she was like an Islamophobe and a homophobe and a transphobe, but she's also a paganophobe, which is the fear of beards. By the way, that's
apparently
a little bit of knowledge for you there.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher was a paganophobe for what it's worth. Yeah.
Maybe she's a philiac. Maybe she really, really loves them. That's why she keeps bringing him up. Don't know.
Yeah. I don't think so. Is all I'll say.
All right, fair enough. All right, I'm hitting play.
He's not top of the list.
He shouldn't have been imprisoned for teaching his dog to do a Nazi salute.
And he wasn't imprisoned. He had £800 taken out of his bank account after he raised like 40,000. So, whatever.
It's just part of his satirical approach to life. Now,
did you hear her response to him saying it was satirical?
What?
Oh, Gerard.
Yeah, well, not just that, but again, what is a Nazi dog salute satirizing?
Yeah.
What is that a satire of? Not the Nazis who look like dogs? I don't know. I don't know what that's a satire of exactly, but
they just repeat it like it's a mantra. That and, you're taking it out of context.
Well, you should go out and murder someone and then say, well, it was satire.
Well, that would be their defense.
Apparently, that's a perfectly good defense because that covers everything.
It
doesn't have to be satirical in the slightest. So you just go out and murder a bunch of people and go, oh, it's a meme. It's a meme, bro. It's fine.
Yeah. All right, hitting play.
By the way,
him and
I'm not literally
advocating.
saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not literally saying you go and murder.
You're
So it's a
being
thought
facetious?
experiment.
Yes. It's doing what is it? Absurdum. You're taking it to the
No,
extreme.
it's satire.
Yes, satire. That was it. You're satiring
That's
their
fucking meta. That's meta as shit.
a satire of their satire. Yes.
Carl are free speech campaigners.
I know, but you're not a free speech campaigner,
yes,
you're a
but they're-
political leader, Gerard.
Yes, but the free speech thing is very,
Gerald.
Yes.
Gerald.
She's got to tell him what his own job is. He's just so taken in by these shitlords. It's astounding. He's like a folie à trois between these two.
Yes. Oh, that's a lovely reference. Well done. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
The madness of three there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
very important because Dankula's been arrested and given a criminal conviction for something that would have been a criminal conviction in Nazi Germany.
No, we haven't all been arrested.
I know. What is she talking about?
You
We
were
have-
arrested in South Africa for racism and taking horse tranquilizer ketamine. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, that doesn't really count as everybody.
No, and we've all been arrested.
Yeah.
And,
I'm sure. Yeah.
What?
I'm sure that was her position before she was arrested too, right? Oh, an arrest. What's that? That's not
Yeah,
a sign of a corrupt moral character.
No. Well, I mean, it isn't necessarily because they could be innocent, but she wasn't and he wasn't.
Well, that wouldn't have been her take.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
when she writes in the likes of the Daily Mail where they're going about these criminal hoodlums, and yet they employ racist, druggy mental cases.
All right. We have 20 seconds left. Let's see if we can get through
That's
it.
what she said.
That's what he said.
The same
Hadn't
thing.
even started.
Just getting started. We have 20 seconds left. Okay.
Yeah.
With good MEP candidates, as I have proven in the past. Okay, fine. All I'm saying is you can't really attack the other side for engaging with stars when you've got some
Well, I've done it
random
for a
hunter.
reason, not just because they're known, because
Okay,
they have.
because they've got good beards.
Carl,
You have to have a beard.
Maybe she does like the beard. They've got good beards.
Yeah,
The kind of beards that make me wet.
maybe, Carl, just so you know, every time Katie Hopkins, well, actually, she doesn't really think much of you, so probably not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
Yes.
let's be honest. We know what Carl wants.
Yeah, it's you.
He wants the K-man up in his shit.
He wants a KD.
basically.
He wants the
Yeah,
KD.
exactly. He does.
you wouldn't make it, I'm afraid.
I'm growing one.
The KD don't come for free. Is all I'll say.
Yep. And
I don't
top
want
only.
no scrubs. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me.
all right.
Did not expect me to crack out some classic Destiny's Child there.
No, was that TLC? Or was it
Was
Salt and
it?
Pepper? See, now I'm just naming random girl rap
Oh,
bands
see, now
from the
now
90s.
that's really racist because it's just.
No, I think it
some
was
black
TLC.
women.
They did
Just some black
Waterfall, I
women
think.
did a thing.
No, Salt and Pepper was obviously Push It. But TLC, I think, did. Scrubs. Push It. All right, people in the chat are saying TLC.
Was it? Oh, okay, well, I'm racist then.
No, you're misremembering early 90s hip hop. It's okay.
Is it even hip hop, really?
Yeah.
It's tweeny pop shit.
Yeah. All right. So this guy, next one, sorry, up the next tweet, is just one that I kind of thought was the typical kind of voter, the person who isn't deep into Carl's, world. This guy named Mark.
True. Yeah, but they are UKIP. I mean, they're literally called the Happy Kipper.
Yeah, exactly. So yes. I have kept quiet over Carl Benjamin, but I have to be honest. My own mother was totally disgusted by his comments. She gave me an earache for days over it. Many of my local UKIP colleagues were also appalled. Whilst I respect free speech notion, I too think he went too far.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And not just that, but he has a better mum than Carl does. Because she didn't give a shit.
No. Well, he did lie to her about what he said.
He did, to be fair. He did.
Oh, and then Grandes Decepciones did this, which we all liked.
I like his little winky.
Yeah, someone commented it was too big.
Yeah. Exactly. It doesn't stick out, does it?
He is just a little boy, an edgy boy on the internet. By his own admission, we're just quoting him. They're just words, Carl. They're just words.
Exactly.
Right.
Free speech and all that bollocks.
Right. I don't know who Sajid Javid is, but they've got a blue check.
Well, you probably should. He's the UK Home Secretary.
Oh, right.
He's like one of the most
Right.
powerful human beings in the land.
Member of Parliament for
Also-
Bromsgrove and Home Secretary.
Yeah, not Bromsgrove, not too far from me actually, but he's also garbage. He's also garbage.
Well, if he's in the cabinet, he is. But just in terms of the cross-party support for...
Yeah. You don't often get high-ranking members of the government coming out and being like, yeah, I kind of stand with this person in the other party. You know.
Mm-hmm. And he writes...
She's a fine parliamentarian. Huge respect.
Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't happen unless you done fucked up, Carl.
And also you have the Home Secretary saying Twitter must do better.
Yeah, and these people have the power to actually make Twitter do better.
Yep, that's the point. Carl's
Which is the
messing
point
with
the point I've made to Carl a long time ago. If you fuckers don't sort yourselves out, eventually the government will sort you out.
Mm-hmm.
You make a problem for people with power, they will use that power on not just you, but everyone else and fuck everything up.
Yep.
You dickheads.
It'd be the apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly.
Again. And then just some dogs being dogs, having fun with the stream of water, which is awesome.
You say stream of water, but is this actually some sort of hideous water sports thing?
I'm pretty sure not. That's a pretty impressive stream, and it looks clear to me.
well hydrated and powerful.
Like a garden hose.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. I think it's just some coverage of Carl. Oh yes. There we go.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Swindon is anti-fascist. Yeah, I was going to use that as my thing on Twitter, the header thing, but I thought it's only going to be relevant for like a week or something. So who cares? But yeah, I like that. Swindon is anti-fascist. Yeah.
And was,
to be honest, it's quite a conservative place. So to get that many number of people out with that is, again, Carl.
That's more than Carl got out.
Yeah, it's bigger than the crowd of people you got, and the pigeons.
Yeah, and the pigeons too, if you count them all. Yes, and it's our favorite local paper, the Swindon Advertiser, again.
Yeah, the best shit paper ever.
Yes. So the headline reads, anti-fascist protesters celebrate after UKIP leader does a no-show and decides to quit. Although that's a slightly misleading headline. But
it is in the sense that, yeah, they're not connected, I don't think. I don't think it was like, oh no, Swindon has defeated me, I'm going to run away.
We're down 7 points in Swindon, that's it. We're like, bail.
Oh no, we've lost Swindon, we might as well just fucking take the cyanide capsules now. Like, no, come on.
Yes. But apparently they couldn't show up because their bus wasn't working. But then there was also...
No. You've missed I think you've missed the point of the story with the buses.
So I saw that on Twitter, but I didn't see it in a newspaper. So I wasn't sure if it was a rumor or it was a real thing.
No, the bus company refused to take them.
That was...
The bus company said no. Now, usually a bus company will happily drive Satan to and from the town centre for the price of, a fucking day saver ticket. But they went with UKIP. No, we don't want that publicity. So they wouldn't drive them.
That's awesome. Once again, rejected.
Genius. Even bus companies are like, nah, fuck you. We're happy to destroy like the ozone layer, but we don't want you around. Fucking hell.
I thought this was a video, but it's actually not the video. It's just a screenshot. So I've got to scroll up for that a bit more.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
But yeah, this is Victoria Derbyshire, who's one of the headline BBC bods. Oh, we're going to play this first, are we?
Yeah, it's next in line. So I thought.
Okay, well, I'll explain the thing when we get to it then.
Yep. So this was circulated this morning, and it's from the stream that Milo and Carl did. It's 3 hours long. I thought about whether or not we should watch it, but it's 3 hours long. So
no, then definitely not.
Definitely not. But people did clip this, and Ian Fraser circulated it. So we'll take a listen.
If we
Ian Fraser, the mighty Fraser. I've never heard of him. Who is that?
He's a journalist, author of Shredded Inside RBS, and he's got 26,000 followers.
University of Mainz.
Of who? Oh, my
Mainz.
Mainz. Ah, right. Okay, so here we go. I'll drag it back. We'll start at the beginning.
If we give them zero platform for what they want, then they'll really hang on, right? They'll get really resentful. They'll get really angry, and this is what's happening with the alt-right. They've been totally persecuted, and in many ways unjustly. And now they've got to the point where
the poor right to be no justly fuck off.
Yep.
school shootings or church shootings, whatever it is, or mosque shootings, or nothing, or clown world. If we give them zip.
So what he writes is UKIP MEP candidate Carl Benjamin appears to suggest giant tech companies are driving the alt-right to commit mass murder by banning them from social media platforms.
And it's interesting he likes to throw around that other people support terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're a hypocrite, Carl, and a piece of shit.
Yep. Yeah.
Here she is, right. Victoria Derbyshire does a show on the BBC News every afternoon, or most afternoons anyway, I don't know. She's like a topical discussion, news, current affairs type show, and it's rather popular. Again, for a daytime TV show, let's not pretend it's getting like tens of millions, but it's it's sizable. And Jess Phillips was on there, and Carl, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, so this is her talking about her reacting to learning about the comments he made in that video he uploaded where he made the statements that maybe with enough pressure he would even rape her.
Yeah, and it should be pointed out that West Midlands Police Force, the police force that I live under or whatever, obviously, I mean, Jess Phillips is an MP for the city, right? Or for one of the areas in the city. They're investigating Carl. So we're on to a second investigation by the police of Carl.
Local police. He's making them very busy these days.
Yeah. And if you annoy powerful people, Carl, would be they MPs and the police and members of the Lords and stuff, you're making very powerful enemies. This is the thing, you're an internet dick. But regardless, even if I agreed with your politics, I'd still say you're an internet dick. You're taking on forces way beyond your capabilities. But there we go.
Okay. All right. We all set?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
It's now been taken down from YouTube. He said there's been an awful lot of talk.
On that point, do we know why it was taken down from YouTube?
I think people complained and it was struck down.
Did it get a strike? Oh, okay.
Yep. That's my understanding, yeah. From
I raised
word
the
of
point.
mouth.
I don't know how that could possibly have not been against the terms of service, which is ridiculous.
And then he re-uploaded the video with the statement out of it and put up removed because jokes aren't allowed on YouTube.
Well, he's learned his lesson then.
Right. And what he, of course, keeps forgetting is that this is not, people aren't objecting to a joke. They're objecting to his introduction of rape into the political discourse. Unrepentantly. Yeah. That's the problem here.
And if he keeps going down this line, he will lose his YouTube channel. That's not a threat. I'm not saying I'm going to do shit. I'm just saying YouTube, you're making powerful enemies that, one word in one ear somewhere, and all of a sudden YouTube will just pull you the fuck down.
You get enough negative. Yep. You get enough negative attention to them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Because they can't afford another apocalypse, so they'll happily sacrifice you in order to save the platform.
Oh yeah, definitely. Of course. All right, I'm hitting play.
About whether I would or wouldn't rape Jess Phillips. I suppose with enough pressure I might cave, but let's be honest, nobody's got that much beer. When you hear that, what do you feel? What do you think?
I think that when the comments were sent to me, they were transcribed and sent to me by a journalist. I think my initial feeling was this is just the same man doing the same thing. He's only got one shtick, that he's dines out on having a go at me. That's all he's got. And then I was actually in the bank, and the person I was talking to in the bank said to me, "Are you all right?" Because I was having to respond on text message. And I looked up and I said, yeah, no, I'm absolutely fine. And I realised that I did what all women do in these situations, is that I'd been putting a brave face on it and pretending that it was all fine and that I could cope. And it sort of dawned on me that for 4 years, essentially, this man has made a career out of harassing me. And I felt harassed. I felt like, how can somebody say that they would rape me if forced and be a legitimate candidate in an election? It was one thing when he was just some idiot off the internet with a load of bros following him. It's a different thing when he's standing on the same platforms that I'm standing on, that he will potentially go to a parliament himself as an elected representative when he said these things. And I just cannot believe our system is so weak at the moment that that's allowed to happen.
All right. So a lot to react to.
Yeah. Firstly, I mean, I don't know, that clip's a bit odd in the sense that she doesn't mention the fact that she was crying as well at one point.
We might get to it. It's not completely over yet, but it's only.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought the clip was over. Okay. Yeah, well, thankfully he's not going to get elected, but it shouldn't be down to like, oh well, they're really unpopular, because there should be some semblance of standards there. And it's, again, I don't care what you think of Jess Phillips's politics. He's a human being and a sexual assault survivor. You shouldn't be putting people through this. This is appalling.
Yeah, and I recognize that the brave face, the way you have to deaden yourself to go into your comments, or deaden yourself to go into your Twitter feed when you're being attacked by Sargoons, and that the way you have to, basically not feel in order to cope. And that does, for people who, it's easier for me to do when there's not a lot of stress in my life. It's harder for me to do when I'm going through, some personal tragedies, because I have less energy to resist, to put up the wall. And the Carl crowd wants to basically say it's her duty to just accept this, all women's duty to just accept this as part of normal political discourse. And everyone else is saying, no fucking way.
Yeah,
no fucking way.
The response has been good by and large. But yeah, there's a fascinating juxtaposition, it seems to me, between Carl, like you say, and his fanboy pricks, and the way they think everyone else should just have to put up with their shit, and Carl getting the minorest piece of blowback and losing his fucking shit over it, like
completely
screaming white N-words because he got, essentially, that was easily ignorable as well. Just don't look at the chat during the live stream. Just focus on the conversation you're having with whoever the fuck it was. Yeah, that's these people, and they are the people who scream about other people being snowflakes, are themselves the snowflakiest motherfuckers ever. They really are.
And the other thing too that Carl keeps crying is that he's an entertainer, he's a comedian, but he didn't say these recent comments while he was an entertainer. He said them as a candidate for office.
Yeah, visiting a part of his potential constituency, albeit 1,000 miles from Britain, but it's part of his constituency. That's Gibraltar is a part of the southwest region, and yeah, he went there and said those things. So yeah, he wasn't there as a comedian. I mean, maybe we should get Katie Hopkins in again to remind Carl what he's supposed to be doing in that situation. Oh, we didn't finish the clip.
Ah, you're right. Dang it.
Silly woms.
Yeah.
That's twice I've correctly mansplained to you today.
This man has made a career out of harassing me, and I felt harassed. I felt like, how can somebody say that they would rape me if forced and be a legitimate candidate in an election? It was one thing when he was just some idiot off the internet with a load of bros following him. It's a different thing when he's standing on the same platforms that I'm standing on, that he will potentially go to a parliament himself as an elected representative when he said these things. And I just cannot believe our system is so weak at the moment that that's allowed to happen.
And when you got home, I think you did cry, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I cried actually in the street in Birmingham City Centre, just because I felt like the enormous weight of years and years and years of abuse. And I felt, it's not that I'm frightened for the credible threat to me. Actually, I'm not frightened that anyone's going to hurt me. I can't.
So you don't fear for your physical safety?
I can't live my life fearing for my physical safety, otherwise I would do nothing. And I really like living my life like a normal person. So
that's where it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it, that you would have to make that judgment call. Like, it's you shouldn't. No one should have to be forced into that situation.
Well, there's actually an update on that story because she was approached by somebody leaving Parliament today, which we'll get to.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be news for me because, like I say, as I said off air, I've been sort of focusing on other shite today. So
Yes. So this is why we actually had the hangout. We kind of buried the lead, but here it is.
yes, the West Midlands Police Force, the force of which obviously Jess is, where she lives and where she represents. And again, a Miranda member of the public comes forward about something, the police don't tend to give a shit. When a member of Parliament does, the police tend to, because it can be bad headlines if you don't, sort of thing. And Carl done fucked up, man.
Yep.
Like, he's in some serious danger of but I mean, I don't know if he'd actually be sent to prison for any of this, but
well, there was a guy.
There
was a guy who was sent to prison for, I think, 6 weeks for sending a tweet to Leanna Wood about, you might remember this from when the debates about immigration were going on.
Yes, I
was saying, I hope you get raped to death by Muslim gangs or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's not impossible, but I think it might be more sort of community service and a fine type thing. But who knows? And he's stupid enough to keep doubling down and it getting worse, and so maybe it will become a custodial sentence type offence. Who knows?
Yeah. So I don't know that there's much more in here other than saying that West Midlands Police confirmed an investigation's been launched after he said he might cave to pressure and rape Birmingham Yardley MP Jess Phillips, and then talks about her video.
Can you go back and pronounce that city correctly, please?
Which one was that?
Birmingham.
Yeah, Yardley.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Birmingham.
Like Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yes. In a statement, West Midlands Police said police have received a report of malicious communications relating to MP Jess Phillips. Officers have spoken to Ms. Phillips, and the comments are being investigated to establish if an offence has taken place.
Well, what I found was quite interesting, and I don't know if this possibly some sort of a distancing, maybe, because it says that Gerard Batten said, UKIP has no knowledge of the police investigation, and as such, we cannot comment. And then
you've just been told about it.
Well, yeah, I know, but look.
Yeah. Sorry.
I condemn all jokes about rape. They are not funny and never appropriate. And I have told Carl to keep to the serious political issues in this campaign.
Well, he's not.
Well, he's clearly not, no. But is that him maybe finally getting to the end where he's like, Carl, you're a fucking prick, mate. You keep making my life really difficult.
Yes. I mean, you would think he might have been relieved that the bus thing was canceled, for all we know. But maybe not. He's kind of a tool. So
He is. That's definitely true.
Yeah. All right. Continuing on. All right. So
the fun never stops. The fun never stops on the crazy train.
Not on the Carl crazy train. Absolutely not. The karma is real.
Quite so.
All right. So then this was the update we gave at the top of the show, which was Sarah Ludford's bid for an urgent private notice on the question was refused. She said, and I did not win a topical ballot for PQ on Thursday. Hope we can find a way to raise in Commons and or Lords this unacceptable apparent impunity for online abusers.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be specifically this person that asks it. It could be any other person at one of the ministerial question sessions in either of the Houses of Commons, either the House of Commons or the House of Lords. So it could, in theory, be Jess Phillips herself, although I dare say she's humble enough that she wouldn't want to ask a question about herself.
Right.
Even though I think she'd be perfectly justified to do so. I think,
I think it'd be nice if women from all the parties, multiple women from all the parties would stand up.
But I'd be surprised. I don't know when. I presume this would come under probably the Home Affairs questions, which I can't remember what day that is. Basically, at the start of every parliamentary day, they have ministerial questions where, say, they have like an economics one, Home Affairs, Foreign Affairs, so on and so forth. And they have like one of those each day at the start of the day. And I don't know when the Home Affairs one is, but when that comes up, it would be a perfectly pertinent question to bring this topic up. And I dare say that what's her name? The Lord, or technically lady, I suppose, whose name I've forgotten. Kristi, please scroll down.
Sarah
something or other.
Ludford.
Sarah Mohammed Ludford. Yeah, Sarah Ludford, in conjunction with various of her colleagues across any number of different parties, I dare say one of them will stand up and ask a question, because they should, because this is like an actual political controversy, and the Home Secretary being involved is interesting as well, because the Home Secretary can they can't step in and force the police to do anything, but if the Home Secretary says to the police force to investigate a certain thing, that carries a lot of weight. A lot of weight. So the fact that Sajid Javid, the Home Secretary, did comment about this.
Yeah, doesn't bode well, does it?
No, Carl. I mean, you are playing with not just fire. You are the dog sat in the room in the meme going, "This is fine. You are in danger."
Yep. Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, I mean, if you had anyone who had literally properly had your back, not just internet idiots, like someone who actually loved you, they'd say, "Yeah, you should probably drop out now. But this is getting serious."
Just
Now,
stop.
on a personal level, this is hilarious. I'm loving every second
Oh
of this.
gosh, yes.
Now, that should tell you something, Carl. The fact that I'm enjoying this should tell you what you should do. That should inform you as to your next steps.
This is our highlight of the Trump campaign and Brexit. This has been the best of the last 3 years.
This is why I'm not even usually I'd say, oh, we've talked about Carl for the last however many episodes, but I'm not even going to apologize for it.
No,
this is amazing. This is like it's like being able to print your own fucking content or whatever. It's just it's amazing. Just headline after headline, tweet after tweet of just pure gold. I mean, look at that headline.
Yeah, from Sky News.
Yeah, again, not a lefty fucking cultural Marxisms, Carl. UKIP candidate investigated over rape comment, and again, that doesn't even break the top 50 at this point. That's some basic like middle of the road stuff. Yeah. Some of them really. I still my favorite, I think, is the
Sicko.
Thug for Dankula and Sicko. That's amazing. I haven't heard that word used since Michael Moore's movie.
But yeah, I put this in here because it's not just like Huffington Post UK and Politics Home that are covering this. Sky News.
Yeah, Sky News. Well, look, I mean, conservative members of the Conservative government have been covering this.
Yeah.
This is genuinely, legitimately, Carl. You are in so much shit.
Yeah. And I think it's going to get worse if Jess Phillips does as I encouraged her to do and continue to document these things electronically, like on Twitter or with her phone. Jess Phillips wrote, 3 hours ago, just leaving Westminster, and a man ran down the street alongside me, asking me about why Carl Benjamin shouldn't be able to joke about my rape, shouting, "I pay your wages."
Well, that person's in trouble too. I don't know who that person was, but that person's in a lot of trouble as well, because that is clear and obvious harassment.
Yep. And it's incited by whom?
Indeed. And also, yeah, you pay their wages to do the job of an MP, not to be abused.
Yep.
That's a very different thing. That's not a part of the fucking part of the job description. Like, she's there to represent her constituents and vote on laws and stuff. She's not there to
endure
be a personal emotional punching bag, you fucking pathetic little manlet.
Yep. So this was just one with a little bit more optimism than I have, but I think in general we've seen how the British public have reacted to Carl, and it's mostly across the board repudiation, except for people who didn't know they were shitlords and people who were shitlords. But this person wrote, "Heartening to see we actually see off Carl Benjamin in the marketplace of ideas with better ideas."
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I mean that's a really nice way of putting that. One small caveat I would have to add to it, though, is that Carl hasn't actually put any ideas forward.
No, well, yeah, it's easy to beat no ideas.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Any idea.
Yeah, just literally any idea. Frogs are made out of chocolate. That's an idea. It's not a good idea, but it contains some information, and therefore it's better than anything Carl has done. Basically. Yeah.
So that is the latest, everyone. We are up to whatever 3 hours ago in my feed, Jess Phillips. So we're keeping you up to date with the complete implosion in its many forms. Me
Yeah,
pulling
I
out
mean-
deep cut tweets to make Kevin laugh.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, what was it? Vile nonce.
Yes.
Gee, I mean, that is chef's kiss. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, and the Jess Phillips, the guy harassing her outside of Parliament, should have learned his lesson, because James Goddard is currently on being convicted under that. So I don't know if he's going to receive a prison sentence, but
Mhm.
he's in a lot of trouble. So doing the same thing doesn't bode well, because the precedent will have been set by then, and you're fucked.
Yep. Also, she can turn that over to the police and direct, the guy mentioned Carl Benjamin. He mentioned the rape tweet. She can show a connection between her harassment and his content.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
He's so dumb.
He's
so dumb. He's so dumb in so many ways. All the layers. It's like an onion of dumb.
He should have stuck with Gamergate 2.0.
He really should have stuck with trying to get Trump to tweet about Gamergate 2.0.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, what you should do is you should drop out of the race now and start for Gamergate 3.0.
And what would that
Let's
be?
make it happen. I don't know. I'm not the big brained guy here.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? That's Carl's business. He's going to use a seance to get Winston Churchill to tweet about it.
Oh, I did see a video by V where he basically said, I think he pretty much admitted Carl wasn't going to win.
Well.
Which I thought that was.
For once, reality has crawled into V's skull. Well done, V.
Yeah, I'll have to check that. I'll check that, and I'll do that on my weekend show or the next happy hour.
Also, V, you're right. Rain is wet. That is true. Yeah, that's not a massive fucking.
No, if you just look at the polls.
Yeah,
you can see that.
It's like admitting that ice is cold. Yeah. Okay, well done.
So I feel like we've been on a journey.
I feel like chicken tonight.
On a freaking. Okay, it's only been an hour. I thought it was a 2-hour journey. That would have been crazy long. But no, this is fine.
That's what she said.
That's what she wished she said. All right. Anyway, now I'm all flustered. You got me thinking about cock.
Fair dues. I have that effect on women.
Hey, is there anything on your channel that you want to shout out?
Oh God. Well, going from that really cheery moment to apartheid state of Israel. Yay. Basically, I did a collab with some lefty types on the interwebs, and we're asking people to boycott this year's Eurovision. So go and check that out on my channel. That's fun. Actually, it is. I mean, the video obviously is about a horrible thing, but it's really well put together by this Spanish guy called Javi. Yeah. Really awesome.
Yeah, everyone should go check that out. Also, if you follow our podcast, 4 episodes of backlog were uploaded earlier today, starting with the Assange getting arrested. So if you missed that episode when it came out, you can listen to it at Podbean. You can check for the link in the description box below of this video. And as for me, I have no plans other than doing another weekend winters. I don't have any current plans to do a weeknight winters, and I probably won't because I have to go to Paris Thursday night. So that would be kind of hard.
What's that? Whoa! Why are you going to Paris? What's happening?
I am giving a talk at one of the universities, I forget which, in Paris on Friday in English about my study, about the qualitative election study of Britain.
Well, I can't help but feel that you're being culturally imperialist then. You're going to France to speak English. Outrageous.
Yeah. Well, my French is definitely not good enough. I can hear, listen to French, but it would be such a painful lecture if I didn't speak to me.
Speak to me in French.
Je ne peux pas parler français. Mais oui, un peu.
No.
There we go. Oh, that was painful. German wants to come out. German just is there going, no, say aber. And no, it's me. And it's very difficult.
Yeah, well, of course, Germany wants to come out. Germany's quite a gay country. Yeah.
You should see our Christopher Street Day parades. They are awesome. Good time. All right, and on that colorful, happy note, the Gay Pride note in May. I guess it's next month, isn't it? Gay Pride.
And on that LGBT bombshell.
Yes. You guys have a good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Appreciate your comments. Goodbye from me and goodbye from Celebrating Kev Kev. Say good night. Celebrating Kev Kev.
What am I celebrating? What?
Well, you're sort of I'm sorry, not really celebrating. I guess we're sort of Schadenfreude Kev Kev.
A good night, something, Kev. What?
That's close enough.
I'm sorry, I'm also watching the football. Football's happening. So, I mean, I'm confused now. I don't know what's happening anymore.
This lack of professionalism. That's it. I'm hitting the button. We're out of here. Goodbye.
Bye.